unhinged things I did to heal my attachment style. Number 5, I learned to self-regulate. The process of learning to not act on attachment style triggers can be very, very uncomfortable. Actively choosing to act in a way that's contrary to how you're feeling inside is tough, especially when you have something like anxious attachment and you're in a very heightened reactive state. When you're feeling like this, being able to self-regulate and not rely on someone else to regulate your own emotions is key. Some things that I practiced were somatic release, bilateral stimulation, breath work, alpha entering meditations specifically, and journaling and rereading old journaling entries. Reading old journal entries was especially helpful in being able to recognize my own thought patterns that I needed to work on, especially when it came to my attachment style. I could literally look at the pages and see specifically what thought loops and triggers would get me just stuck. Number 6, I put myself in timeout whenever I was feeling too reactive. In times where my self-regulation just did not do the trick, I would remove my own access to the person I was in conflict with to avoid acting on the triggered attachment style feelings. For example, if my partner and I were not together in person, we did long distance for a while, and we were communicating primarily via text, I would literally turn my phone off and lock it away in a drawer. I would remove my own access to avoid doing anything hurtful or damaging to the relationship while I was too reactive. This is not a permanent solution, and without an adequate amount of communication, that can be hurtful and damaging. However, if you're able to adequately communicate that you need a little bit of space to cool down, this can be a really good thing to do. I know from personal experience, though, how hard it can be when you're feeling so triggered to have the wherewithal to be able to communicate clearly. Unfortunately, in situations like this, when you're focused on healing, sometimes it does come down to the lesser of two evils. Turning your phone off for a little while without any communication can still be an issue, but it's often less of an issue than saying the things you might say if you were to leave your phone on. If you're able to communicate with your partner beforehand that you might need some space like that during conflict to avoid saying or doing things in the heat of the moment, that would probably be the best scenario, so they know you're not just ghosting them. Then you'd have the necessary space to be able to take a minute to regulate and calm down so that you're not acting on your feelings alone. And you can get a little bit more clarity about the situation once your brain isn't so muddled. I know the feeling of seeing red in those situations very, very well. But now that I lean more secure, conflict doesn't feel like the absolute end of the world anymore. Now when I have big feelings, I can take some deep breaths, I can go for a walk, I can journal, etc. And then I can come back with a clearer state of mind, ready to work things out.